Well, hello there, friends. I hope that you're doing well. On this Friday, April 5th, 2019, I wasn't really thinking of making this video. I just wanted to kind of quietly walk away from YouTube for a while, but I figured there'd be some people curious and making theories of where he went to, so definitely after I post this video, I'm going to change the channel name. It's time to get away from this box that I've put myself in with all of this virgin, forever alone, incel, whatever bullshit. So it's time to start getting away from that. So, I guess I can't be angry that I've kind of set myself up into this cycle where I come up with these big plans, don't follow through, and so now people just kind of make fun of me and attack me no matter what I say or do, whether I talk about working on things day to day. Why are you this? Why aren't you running? Why aren't you that? Why aren't you powerlifting? Why aren't you this? Or if I make a video like this, I know exactly the type of comments that are going to be posted, so that's all right. But I'm not going to keep this cycle up forever. So it's kind of one of those where I'm definitely long overdue to step away from all of this, and think that I'm kind of on the right track with what I've been doing of just focusing on doing things every day, just focused on each day and then getting better at doing each day and stringing together one good day after the other rather than one day after the other of failure. It's like it's an inverse, where when you waste time and goof off, it's easier to do that the next day and then the next day, and it gets harder and harder to change that. Whereas if you do good things and be productive and work towards something, at first it's difficult to string along good days like that because your natural tendency is just to go back to doing nothing. But as you keep doing it over and over, it gets easier and easier and easier. So that kind of an inverse is what I mean. So I don't know. What else is there really to say? I really regret the amount of time that I spent talking about and focusing on the whole forever alone, whatever stuff. It all sort of has its place, but not forever. At some point, you are just kind of complaining, but not actually doing anything. If I were to look at my life and say, what's probably the biggest thing holding you back? Well, I would say it's the fact that I don't, make a decision and then stick to it and then complete it. It's always you're giving up, you're quitting, you're changing, this and that, so you never... it's like a car that, one day you go this direction, the next day you go that direction, next day that direction. So you never actually end up getting anywhere. And, I can't ultimately blame anybody else for that other than me. So I just got to focus on, see, it's like I'm about to repeat the mistake where you kind of figured out the path and plan in your head. And I know exactly what I want to and I'm going to do. And so I start going into it in detail and completely jinxing myself, right? And then, so I'm not going to do that. But the rest of the year is set. And I'm not going to really worry about anything else and what's the best this or that, at some point you have no decision in life but to actually make a decision towards something, because waiting isn't going to bring you any closer to anything. And so it's just, it's something that I said in a on the old channel that I used to have in a video, that it's like, it's just a choice every single day, In the moment, it doesn't feel significant, but when you look back at it, it's like, wow, that one wasteful day turned into a week, which turned into a month, which turned into 6 months, which turned into a year. And to think, where would I have been if I just stuck to something and picked a direction to go in, rather than waste time, It's a decision each day. Are you you finish work, are you going to go get yourself a 6-pack and a frozen pizza? Are you going to, brown some lean ground beef with vegetables and a couple of potatoes or something and eat that? Whatever it might be. I've basically set myself up for constant short-term embarrassment and failure versus long-term success. So that's kind of where I'm at. And that's what I have to untrain and relearn. Have patience and understand, just once again, the importance of every single day focusing on and doing what you can control, because ultimately, there's things out of your control. There's things you can't control. There's things you can't currently control. And there's definitely things that you can always control. And for far too long, I've been focused on things out of my control or things I can't quite yet control. And so, you kind of get what you put into it, right? Everything, I would say, if there's any lesson that I've learned, it's that everything definitely catches up to you sooner or later, whether it's good or bad. It might seem like you're kind of working on a skill and taking care of your health, blah, blah. And, moment to moment, day to day, it feels like you don't feel anything from it, right? But it's that sort of buildup of the days and such where eventually it's like, oh shit, I actually got to somewhere. Or, the inverse of a year went by, another year went by, etc. So I think the other thing too is just flat out getting older, just getting older and realizing that I don't want to spend the rest of my life complaining on the internet about not having a girlfriend or something. So, I'm just a fat virgin, this is who I am. Like, I'm not gonna form my identity for the rest of my life around this. I've already done this whole thing and didn't get anywhere. So I think it's time to start doing something else, and I need to start that not worrying about any of this or the internet, and just learning to function in the actual real world, not on YouTube or, fantasy and daydream and the past and this and that. So the rest of the year is planned out, including into 2020, but I'm not going to go into, I said, I'm not jinxing myself and going into all the details and screwing everything up. I truly believe, here I'm sitting right now on April 5th. 9 months will go by. If I goof off and fuck around and keep feeling sorry for myself and keep making excuses and keep putting things off, whatever, well, that's 9 months that you're now older and further away from anything. Or if I just focus day to day doing what I need to, working hard, I truly believe I can start actually getting somewhere. And that's what I will do, folks. I may have been in this weird, shitty cycle for a number of years now, but I'm not going to continue doing it for the rest of my life. I may have wasted a whole lot of time up till now, but I'm not going to waste the rest of it. So, this isn't like a goodbye or anything, but I am just taking a step back for a while. And doing what I should have done a long, long fucking time ago. So on that note, folks, I wish you well. And I can already see your comments before you even post them. And that's fine. But I'm not going to worry about external opinions at the moment. And, you're not going to have me to make fun of and shit on. So, on that note, I'm going to do what I got to do. So, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.